Well, the commitment to higher education in very difficult times, to say difficult economic times, is of course understating it tremendously. Is maybe a lesson that we can learn here in the United States in these much less difficult times, relatively speaking. Now, you referred to the course you took in quantum mechanics at Chicago, but you came to Chicago through New York. As I recall, you took a boat through India up into New York, and when you arrived in New York, as I understand it, you were searching for Fermi.
Yes.
Could you tell us the story of how you came to Chicago from whichever pier you landed on?
When I was in Kunming during my university days there, I really had a very good foundation about modern physics. In particular, I already developed a certain taste. And the modern physicists that I most admired were Einstein, Dirac, and Fermi. All three of them were great physicists of the 20th century. Now, Einstein didn't have that many graduate students. Besides, he was very old by the time that I arrived in America. So he was out as a possible thesis advisor. Dirac also didn't take many graduate students, and he was in England anyway. And Fermi was the one that I very much admired, and I wanted to be his graduate student. So when I arrived in New York, I arrived in New York and not in San Francisco, because that was the end of the war. There were no commercial traffic between China and the U.S. The only way to come to U.S. For me was to get a berth on one of the troop transports, which were sent. They are called Liberty ships. They were about 5,000 tons each, and they would transport something like 3,000 American soldiers from the China, Burma, India theater back to the United States. So I got one of those berths in Calcutta, and the ship took us through the Red Seas, the Mediterranean. So I landed in New York. I remember there was a person in New York. I won a scholarship, and there was a person who manages that scholarship in New York, and he rented rooms in Edson Hotel, which still exists in Times Square. I took Fan Fan there one day recently and sat in the lobby. It's full of Art Deco styles. After one day, I went to Columbia. I took the subway to Columbia and went to the Pupin lab, trying to look for Fermi. But the secretaries of the department didn't know who Fermi was. I was really surprised because it turns out that Fermi had been absent doing classified work. Those secretaries were new, so they didn't know about him. So I was very disappointed. So the next day I went to Princeton, and I did see Wigner. But he said he was going to be on leave for half a year at the Oak Ridge. So he couldn't be my thesis advisor. Then he said, how about you're working with Wheeler, with John Wheeler? So I went to see Wheeler. I don't know whether you have met Wheeler. Wheeler was, he just died, I think 2 years ago at the age of approximately 100. Wheeler, you know, is a very serious person. He really make any jokes. And when I saw him, he gave me a list of some 10 items which he gives to graduate students, which were topics that he thought would be useful to do research on. I remember some of those still. One of them was to find which of the experiments which said the mass of the meson was 50 the electron mass, 200 the electron mass. There was a spectrum of them. And one problem was to study and decide which one is the most reliable one. Another was about the geophysical effect on the cosmic ray. Those were all very interesting problems, and many years later, I could not help but wondering if I had stayed as a graduate student of Wheeler, what would happen afterwards. But anyway, while I was still debating whether I should remain in Princeton as Wheeler student, I heard that Fermi had decided to go to Chicago. So I quickly cabled the University of Chicago for admissions. And my grades were very good in China. So they cabled back within 1 week saying that they accepted me. That's how I became a student in Chicago.